Big Brother's Big Archive. This week's episode. Really? Do we have Stanley on writing stuff? We'll figure it. Speidi sense.
And thank you very much for the very enthusiastic intro, Mr. Paul Oakenfield.
You're welcome. I want to puppy now. I feel so dirty.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us for our latest episode of Big Brother's Big Archive, which, as Paul mentioned, is entitled Speidi Sense, and we'll be discussing the most recent series of Big Brother, which was Celebrity Big Brother 11. My name's Karl, Mr. Paul Barron joining us as well, and Mr. Joseph Tilley.
Hello.
Although when I do say that Joseph Tilley is joining us live, we're actually lying. Joe's actually gone off to do his own thing, but we're going to edit it so it looks like he's been here the whole time.
Yes, and when he's not here, we're using a sock puppet, just to simulate him. Isn't that right, Joe?
Yeah.
In all seriousness, Joe's live here, and he's ready to talk about Celebrity Big Brother 11. A series which most of us have a lot of strong opinions about.
Strong opinion that it's being shit.
Yeah. CBB11, not one of our favourite series, but it's a part of the franchise. We have to discuss it. We have to give it the same care and attention that we will other series that we like.
Like a mental person over a bit of roadkill saying it's its baby.
I mean, there will be people, mainly Rylan fans, but there will be people who love this series, so we're going to have to try and show our real opinions about this. Try and give it a good one for the team. Yeah,
and also go absolutely balls to the walls all the way, just ripping the shit out of this series.
And the place that we're going to start, though, well, actually we're not going to start with launch night. One of the things we're going to have to discuss in a bit more detail is the big tabloid story that happened prior to the series. If you all remember reading the tabloids during this series, you'll know that Jim Davidson, the sexist, bigoted, racist, homophobic, basically hate everything except himself, comedian, was planned to be a part of the CBB11 cast.
Well, actually, he doesn't actually hate himself. He likes John Virgo.
Good point. He likes John Virgo. Big break reference there. Love that show.
Oh, it was brilliant.
But he was supposed to be part of the cast, but unfortunately, 2 days before the launch night, he was arrested and questioned as part of Operation U-Tree, which is happening in Britain at the time.
Or as we like to call it, the Savile Police.
Yes. It's so uncomfortable listening to Savile impressions now.
It's just basically a whole wall of now then what's going on here? You're like so what?
It's creepy. It's really creepy. But because of being
puts them in the London riots. See how the crowd disperses after that. now then
they'll be running away.
Do you like show anybody? No.
But of course, because of Operation U-Tree, Jim Davidson had to pull out his show, and his place got taken by Neil Ruddock. Now the question I'm going to put to Joe is, what kind of impact do you think Jim Davidson would have made had he been in CBB11?
I think that if he had gone in, if he behaved, that he would have made, an even better panto villain than Speidi, who I do still hate, but I think they would have made a really good.
Do you think Jim would have been pro Speidi? Do you think he would have worked with them, or do you think he would have been against them?
Against.
I think it would have, teach them a few tricks. I think it would have worked with.
Yeah, basically putting laxatives in their drinks. Making sure that Speidi don't get any camera time.
That's actually a really good question there. Like on the whole for against Speidi, if they were against each other, two antagonistic figures, who do you think would have got the bounce off that? Who do you think would have been portrayed in the positive manner between Jim, who was a sexist bigot, or Speidi, who were full-on pantomime baddies?
Ooh, good question.
It's a really good question to think of.
It's like basically, it's like a superhero comic, except instead of the superhero and the villain, it's basically two villains rubbing against each other.
It's like Freddy versus Jason. Whoever wins, we lose.
Yes, fair enough.
Really would have been a good question to ask, and I'm pretty sure that Jim will be part of the CBB12 cast once that comes along in the summer. But I do think the right decision was made in regards to circumstances that Jim did have to be pulled out. Unfortunately, Jim pulling out meant that he wasn't part of the launch night cast. Now, what was your view on the launch night cast, Paul? Because I don't know about you, I found it quite a poor one on paper.
On paper, yeah. To tell you the truth, it's like watching The Room by Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, it's not even so bad it's good. I mean, the room was so bad it's good. This was just meh.
Oh, come on, Karl. It was not that bad. Mind you, at least they have known what the accent was. Ha.
What about you, Joe? Like your view on the launch night cast?
I think the cast was good, you know, but I think it was too heavily based on like mother figures and bad guys.
I'm guessing with the mother figures you're talking about the whole Claire, Trisha, Gillian tag team.
Yeah.
Mrs. Brown versus the Legion of Doom, basically. Yeah, fucking shite.
I like that one, Paul. I really do like that one. And also as well, one of the other factors I didn't really like as well was there anybody in that cast who you could really see, apart from Rylan, was there anybody else on that cast who you could see realistically winning the show? I mean, in all honesty, Rylan had this. The moment he walked through the door.
No, Rylan didn't have this because Rylan is an absolute 100%. Don't get me wrong, he's a great entertainer, but he's an absolute bellend.
I had a feeling you'd say something like. Actually, I thought you were going to say something far, far nastier.
Right? Seriously, that's actually the nastiest side. That's actually before the watershed. Wait until after the watershed. I'm like friggin' Russell Howard mixed in with a bulldog.
But yeah, what about you, Joe? Actually, was that one of the reasons it spoiled the series? The fact that Rylan seemed like such a shoo-in to win from day one.
Yeah, I think it did kind of spoil it because most of the time I don't know who's going to win it until like maybe the last night. And I knew as soon as he went in that it was over, basically. It
does remind me of the other celebrity Big Brother with Chantel.
Yes, good call that. Chantel was staying pretty much a shoo-in from day one.
She was basically the non-celebrity who slowly became a celebrity and took the what's the name of the guy?
Oh, that's
Life Will Be the Death of Me.
I'm guessing that was Preston.
Yeah, Preston. She took him and turned him into one of them. You bastards! I like that song as well. Life will be the death of me, sitting in
we know where Paul stands when it comes to CBB4. But moving back on track to go on to CBB11. Another factor which sort of disappointed me about launch night, and I'm going to have to ask both of you about this. The basement twist. Good intentions, sort of trying to play on which side, Pooh's side, generate a bit of conflict early on. Didn't really come off that well though, did it?
Yeah, it didn't. But on the lighter note, you'll actually see Speidi and all your other favourite celebrities eat their own shit.
They didn't really.
Not really. They just ate garbage. Look at what you're eating and. Oh, it's not organic. It's fucking plastic. That's what it's organic about.
What about you, Joe? Did you like the basement twist? What could have made the basement twist better?
Baseball bats.
I didn't really like the basement twist because it's kind of like the halfway house, heaven and hell kind of thing again, which I've done quite a lot. And to make it better, I don't know. They could have made it much worse, you know.
They could have put 12 people into a house and see what happened. No twist whatsoever.
My God, that's brilliant! We must get to Channel 5 and make sure that they actually do something like that. Oh wait, they do.
Not for a long time, unfortunately.
But mind you, I would really buckle if they went to the if they really pushed the boat out there. It's basically World War II, the English versus the Nazis. Let's see what happens there.
What did happen though? We move on. So the house was basically split into two types. Basically, we had Sex in the City in the main house of the housewives, Rylan, and I believe it was Lacey as well in there. So pretty much a girly house, and the rest placed into the basement. Arguably the more interesting group of the two.
Oh my god, it's starting to sound like Mamma Mia. Oh god, I would just really buckle. There was a little bit of active food poisoning in there, wasn't there?
It could be seen as that. I mean, if you remember on night one, Paula had to be pulled out of the basement for her own health. She was complaining of stomach cramps while she was in there. I don't know if Paul was milking it to try and get into the main house, but
because to tell you the truth, have you ever had stomach thingies? It's horrible.
But there was a lot of musical chairs between the two groups the first couple of days, and then the basement got the offer to enter the main house. But to do so, they had to sacrifice one of their own, and in this case, it was our jockey friend Frankie Dettori. So Frankie automatically faced the public vote against the two people who would be nominated that week.
Kalima.
Now, this is the first time of what will happen every single eviction during CBB11, which is the manipulation of the nomination process, arguably with the aim of trying to save Spencer and Heidi, who by that point quickly established themselves as pantomime villains within the show.
And also the fact of production, you're a bunch of bastards.
But the question I want to put to you, Joe, is what was your view on production continually interfering with the nominations process? Like, I mean, I understand why because it was trying to keep the big character in the show. Because Speidi were carrying the show through the whole series.
They did carry the show, but oh god. Oh.
But at the same time, by trying to keep these big characters in the show, it sort of damaged the credibility by trying to keep someone in artificially. So, on the whole, Joe, where do you stand in this? Did production do the right thing, keeping Speidi in, or do you think they should have just let them go?
I think that they should have kept them in, but I think that the coverage they did like too much of Speidi, and like it did get a bit annoying after a while. So I think that we should have maybe varied it a bit.
I would really buckle if they actually, cut off the lights, kidnapped Speidi, and just replaced them with cardboard boxes saying housemate on them. Which would be, because, you're basically not making a lot of difference.
I think you are though. I mean, you're talking as if Spencer and Heidi didn't provide anything to the show. I mean, Spencer and Heidi were pretty much the only reason for people to watch during those last couple of days because of the conflict they provided.
You said they were there on an artificial basis.
What I meant by artificial basis was that I felt that the characters that they were portraying in the show were artificial. I don't know if the big brother Spencer and Heidi, as it were, are the real Spencer and Heidi. Really, if you're going to do this whole swap them with the plastic people, then you should do it with pretty much every housemate except Speidi and Rylan, because I think on the whole the cast was very weak during that series and wouldn't be missed.
Good point, but still. That would be an absolute hellish house task. The housemates, one by one, have been replaced with wax mannequins, and each of them have got to find out what the fuck's going on. Yes, Big Brother's entering the Twilight Zone.
Now that Channel 5 I can see stealing. No, they wouldn't actually.
I think that wax mannequins would be more interesting than Speidi.
Controversial. Don't personally agree with it, but it's something we'll discuss in the near future because Spencer and Heidi are pretty much going to dominate this show like they dominated the
Like they dominated the hills.
Like they dominated the whole series of Big Brother. And of course, we're going to have to talk to them again because joining Frankie as the nominees were Speidi alongside Paul Hamilton. Now,
Hamilton regrets nothing.
what goes on in your head sometimes?
I haven't got a clue. Having the only internet in the world that has the internet running through your head is basically like having a Wi-Fi stuck to your forehead.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Barron is one of the reasons why the internet is a bad thing.
Kittens.
But that whole eviction, now it was pretty much a certainty that Frankie was going to stay. Which is actually a bit of a shame though, because really, Speidi and Paula were fantastic personalities. I know you two don't personally agree with them, but I thought for what they were in the show, when you had to appreciate them for the characters that they were playing, rather than the people, fantastic personalities. It was such a shame though that one of them was going to go that week, and it was a shame that in the end it ended up being. I
thought on that week Paula was immune to eviction.
No. Paula was the nominations could still take place. The rich side and the poor side could still nominate one another, etc. But Paula going that week was a bit of a shame because she was turned into some great television, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But one of the things I do want to ask, and I'll put this to Joe, is whilst Paula was good television, do you think it was right for her to be there? Do you think she was mentally strong enough to survive any longer in the house?
Well, clearly not.
I don't think so, because like she's done other reality TV. I mean, when she did I'm a Celebrity,
I don't think she ever did. I don't think she ever did I'm a Celebrity.
I think she did.
We'll Wikipedia it when we get there. Don't try and edit Wikipedia before we get there.
Go on.
Paula was in Celebrity I'm Get Out of Here, alongside celebrities eating toast.
But saying that though, Paula had some really funny moments, and a lot of moments which sort of seem to have got lost in the shuffle. One of the things that comes to mind on launch night, if you remember when Ryan Maloney, Toadie, we'll refer to him as Toadie during the show, entered the basement himself, met Paula there. Paula saw him in his checkered scruffy shirt and thought to him, "Oh, are you one of the helpers here? Are you coming to take me away?"
I would have probably said, "Yeah, cheeky bitch. I'll bloody box your lugs in."
What? Toadie's a Geordie now.
Touché.
But yeah, but funny moments like that, quirky moments, and I mean Paula was a quirky character, but I don't think she was right for that. I don't think she was right mentally to stay in the show. But so I think in that context, maybe it was the right thing to do. How it being taken out.
Yeah, I think she wasn't strong enough to be like the winner, but
she deserved longer. But for her own sake, I think the right decision was made for her to go. So of course, Spencer and Heidi survived that week's eviction, and then we come to one of the most controversial twists of the series, which ironically enough saves them once again.
No, for fuck's sake.
Which was that for the next 3 days, Spencer and Heidi would move to a secret room, which was the bedsit basically, which was the basement redone with an American flag basically. Very lazy job, Channel 5. And were told that they were allowed to spy on their fellow housemates, pretend that they were fake evicted, spy on their fellow housemates, and then return to the house in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, I can see the favourites that production want.
Yeah, I think you've got a sort of sense that they were favourites there.
Yeah, bloody bastards!
Now the question I ask there is, was this a move too far?
Yes, it was. I would say yes, because you know, you did say that they were trying to keep they was celebrating the fact that Heidi and that are in the house, right? And to tell you the truth, yeah, they were basically going out their way to make sure that they're in the house and staying there for a long time.
Do you just sort of see it though from Spencer and Heidi's point of view, which is that they known for the nominations process where they got every other housemate nominating them, that these people weren't being nice to them, and they weren't treating them like good quality people. Can you see, sort of from their point of view, that it'd be a good thing to get away from these people?
Yeah, but it's like giving a chimpanzee the nuclear Holocaust bomb. You know for a dang fact he's gonna push that button. You know for a dang fact that, it doesn't seem like a good idea in the first place, but yet the fuckers did it anyway.
They knew it was going to create conflict though. Do you think that's another justification for it? Because really, if there was any housemates you wanted spying on the rest of them, it was going to be Spencer and Heidi, because it just saw how badly they would take it. It's
the Bush administration, ladies and gentlemen. But that does see that I'm saying that it was not called for that.
You don't agree with that, Joe? What about you?
No, I've not been paying attention. I've been looking at pictures of Paul Hamilton in the 80s.
Very stunning woman, wasn't she?
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot that was her that was in the VW adverts in the 80s.
Yes, and she was also in the Take That episode, video, How Deep Is Your Love?
Please, for the love of God's sake, she was actually the one who took off all her clothes and went into the car.
No, she was the stalker that pushed Gary Barlow off the cliff.
That's a dick move. That's a really big dick move. They should have put a concrete fucking block on the thing! Make sure he didn't come back!
So, we were talking about...
Yes, we were talking about Spencer and Heidi moving into the basement.
Oh yeah, I think that was slightly too far. That again, it's been done so many times.
So
boring.
Very similar to the bedsit, wasn't it?
Mm. Except the bedsit looked more better than the other one.
Yes, the redone basement with the dodgy American flag just didn't look very good at all, did it?
Mind you, we saw more boobage in the bedsit. More boobage.
Yes, more boobage. Yep. And natural boobs as well. But without Spencer and Heidi there, it meant no obvious targets for the face-to-face nominations. And that meant that Toadie and Sam Maloney.
Toadie and Sam Maloney. It sounds like a.
No, it wasn't Sam. It wasn't Sam Maloney. It was Sam Robertson. Oh, I have to apologise, ladies and gentlemen.
You were trying to make that rhyme, didn't you? You were trying to make that rhyme.
That's probably what I had in my head.
Right,
but it shows how interesting Sam was as a housemate then, that I didn't even remember his surname.
Ah.
Now, Sam and Toadie got nominated. Now, did anybody else feel that away from the House versus Speidi thing, there was a real pecking order within the House demographic, as it were? Sort of like there was this totem pole of quality. Obviously, Rylan would be at the top, then probably Claire Richards. And just everybody else at the bottom was just being kicked off one by one.
Alongside the dirt, the worms inside the dirt, the production team from Channel 5 and the viewer.
There was an obvious totem pole within the house politics, and I sort of felt sorry for Sam and Toadie that they seemed to be that they created this very public environment where they would show just how low they were down the totem pole, and I think Toadie in particular really didn't like that. Take that.
So what did Toadie do? Become an absolute bitch?
No, Toadie didn't really do anything really.
Oh, you just sat there twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah, I mean that was just Toadie's way of doing things, and we'll discuss that later when we discuss them in the assessment of the character. But Sam versus Toadie, that week's eviction. Nobody really cared that much about it. Two very dry, under the radar, middle of the road characters. But between the two, the public decided that Sam was the one they wanted rid of. So we'll put that to you, Joe. What was your view on Sam as a housemate?
I just think that he was just a bit, as you said, plain and boring and just a bit dry.
So basically, you just saw the dude with the tie and white shirt and constantly saying, I live an interesting life.
Yeah.
I collect stamps
in
hope of getting fulfillment in my life.
There was the Sam and Lacey stuff though. I mean, there was the producers trying to make something happen between them two.
Yeah, but that didn't really work, did it?
Nah, I think the ninjas were off that day, so yeah, probably.
But one thing as well that I found quite strange about Sam. Now, you know how the public have started this awful trend of every week chanting get someone out. Usually get Speidi out during the series, but get someone out. Now Sam got a get Sam out chant through doing absolutely nothing to justify getting one. I found that really strange.
I think they said everyone gets a free McDonald's if everyone starts chanting get Sam out.
It'd be enough to please the people who go to the Big Brother evictions.
Yes, because no offense, Big Brother audience, you're lovely people, but
the eviction crowd could do with a lot more work. I think the eviction crowd is one of the biggest gripes I have with the franchise right now.
Yes, because you're fucking shite. You're fucking dumb as hell. You make the dry skin off my feet look more smarter than you lot.
And you wonder why we don't get any comments.
Hey, Karl.
Yes?
Just a quick, just go back a little bit.
Yes?
What did you think of the comment Paula made about Big Brother giving Jade cancer?
I found that quite a strange one. Now, I don't. That's a tricky one to say. I don't think that Big Brother gave Jade cancer.
I think Mike gave Jade kidney cancer.
No, I think that was out of line for Paula for that regard.
I think it was a bit offensive myself.
I found it a bit offensive.
Mind you, I have seen offensive. I've seen full English, and trust me, that is offensive.
Yeah, I think Paula was out of line with that one, and I could understand the offence that she caused with that.
Yeah.
But Sam got evicted. Nobody really missed him. Apart from a performance on Bit on the Side where he was just absolutely milking the crowd for all he's worth. Not really a memorable housemate. Probably does well when we do the Big Brother hotness ranking in the future. But apart from that, meh. But Sam's departure led the way for Spencer and Heidi's return to the house.
Oh! Go away, you people! You're horrible! You make me want to eat vanilla ice!
And with that came another chance to meddle with the nominations.
Yeah, alright.
Told by Big Brother, they'd been watching the housemates, as we remember, through the big screen.
No.
Spencer and Heidi were told, based on what you've seen, choose the two most uninteresting and boring housemates who you want nominated this week.
Okay.
Choosing, they chose Rylan and Claire for that choice. Really a personal decision, not the blind and boringest housemates that they could, because they weren't. I don't like Rylan, but I'll admit he wasn't a boring housemate.
They're basically pushing up the cuntometer. Just, from being that guy who cuts you off in traffic to, well, David Cameron sort of status right there.
But that was the character they were playing. They were playing dick villains.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can be a dick villain, just don't be an absolute dick villain.
Now, one of the things that I noticed about that, okay, so Rylan and Claire were both nominated, and what was interesting about that was Rylan's reaction post that decision, and once Spencer and Heidi returned to the house and made it clear they had seen everything. Rylan reacted in a very, very negative manner, a very over the top manner. Now, controversial question I'm going to ask here to Joseph is: was the real Rylan exposed during this argument? Because I think Rylan showed a very, I don't want to use the word chavvy, but quite a bad side to himself during this confrontation.
There's no such thing as saying chavvy, because there is a little bit of chav in all of us. I mean, I can, for some odd reason, I can do a very good impression of a chav.
But for all of Rylan's over the top behaviour and this, trying to treat him as this jolly camp performer, to see him as this really bitchy character, was the real Rylan exposed possibly with this argument, with this revelation that Speidi had been watching him?
Well, I don't know. I think for a minute there, I thought he was fucking hard as out like a.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think he was exposed as a different side to him, but I think that because he did that, that's why people warmed to him. So.
Well, the biggest problem I had with Rylan as a character was that it wasn't really because he was this over-the-top cab character. I admit I found Rylan very entertaining when he was on the X Factor as a contestant, but I just felt that at times he came across as quite hypocritical in his behaviour. I just Rylan had this big gripe about Spencer and Heidi being false, being fake, playing up to the cameras. Yet Rylan himself was the person who always tried to position himself to have a central role in every task. He was the one who read the letters from home once they came. He was the one who paraded around in Claire's bar trying to be entertaining. He was the one who jumped into the pool naked. I just found it quite hypocritical that he called out Spencer and Heidi all the time for being false, when arguably he was just as bad.
Yeah, I can see where you can see. I see where you stand.
The only difference was that Spencer and Heidi were being false, playing villains. Rylan was being false, playing a hero. That's my opinion. I don't know about you, Joe.
And everyone else is just standing there going.
Most people have turned off by now, but what about you, Joe? Do you think Rylan was maybe a bit false?
Yeah, I do think it was a bit false, but not as false as Speidi, who I despise.
And what about you, Paul? Rylan is a natural or false character?
Well, I'm going to say this now. It's basically plastic versus plastic people here.
So you think they were just as bad as each other?
Yeah, do you remember on Red Dwarf, that episode with all the wax figurines going to war? That's what I see with Rylan and Speidi. Basically two plastic entities going at each other. So yeah, this is basically plastic on plastic war.
And of course later on, after Spidey's return, we got another big controversial moment, which was an argument between Tony and Speidi once they returned, which in turn led to Razor raising his voice, getting involved in the conflict, and saying threats, which led to him getting a formal warning. Now, what was your view on that, Joe? Razor's formal warning. Do you think it was deserved, undeserved? Do you think there was a lot of stuff which was cut out, which justified it?
I think it was deserved, because I think that put them in their place, and I think Razor was the right person to do it.
Well, Razor is basically what I would like to call. He looks like Brian Blessed, but he looks like a shaved version of Brian Blessed. But him raising his voice towards three unbelievable cunts.
Who was the third?
Rylan.
No, he didn't raise his voice to Rylan.
Really? Oh, he's raised his voice to Speidi.
Just Speidi, yes.
Oh, well, in that case, then yeah, it was deserved.
Just because it was Speidi.
That and the fact that, we get sick of this plastic manufactured bullshit that we get on our TVs. Oh, we've got to act like this. No! Bad Channel 5. I am not listening to you. Put on more CSI. I like that.
Even the Danica Patrick episode.
Even that one too. Even though I would rather, get drunk on that night. But still, yeah. Yeah.
Now, just go back to the argument just before we move on further. One of the things I noticed about the argument was, if you remember, when Tony got involved and Spencer and Heidi reacted back, Spencer spoke in a very insulting Australian accent, mocking Tony's accent, mocking who he was. Could you imagine if that was an Indian man? Could you imagine the political uproar that would have caused?
That would have probably done the same thing that they did with Jay Goody, which is basically the silent crowd, plus one fan.
Yeah.
And he would probably have a tearly face and just rip his sign and walk away. Oh no, you were the only fan. Was your only fan, but I don't follow racists.
So Spencer and Heidi back in the house, back with a bang.
Oh god.
And of course, back on the nomination block.
Woohoo!
Once again receiving every single nomination that they possibly could.
Woohoo!
And they were joined there alongside Lacey, which meant a four-way eviction between Lacey, Claire, Rylan and Speidi for that week's eviction. Now, I have to be confirmed about this, but I believe that in the history of Big Brother nominations, every time they were eligible, Speidi received every single nomination. They have a 100% record for nominations, and I don't believe that's ever been beaten.
Hooray! And what happened?
They didn't get evicted, Lacey did.
Fuck!
Well, we'll put that to you, Joe. Right decision. Was Lacey the right choice to go that way?
And also, I apologise for shouting that. It was just, it was smack bang there. But
you were building yourself up. You thought they were gone there, didn't you?
yes, I thought, huh? Oh, you picked my hopes up and dashed them on the floor like cutlery.
But we'll put that to you, Joe. Lacey. Right choice to go that week?
Yeah, I think she was.
I apologise for shouting it as well.
I think, again, she's run out of steam, Speidi still had, fight in them, and still wanted to, go and be the bad guy, but Lacey's kind of given up.
Do you think that though? I actually felt that Lacey was beginning to come out of the shell a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, when I wrote that, I wrote on Facebook like a paragraph each for each contestant on what I expected them to be like, and I said, yeah, Lacey's going to be an early boot, but I think she's going to be somebody who, as the series progresses, people are going to warm to a lot more and find a lot more endearing, and I like to think that happened with her. I don't know about you, but I think that by the time Lacey went, people thought she was a nice girl, quite warming. Do you know who she reminded me a lot of? She reminded me a lot of Tashi from Big Brother 12. Maybe not as extreme and as Trainwreck, but certainly a lovely girl, quite endearing. And I think that had she been in the eviction with a weaker cast, she would have stayed more.
Would you technically add her as a celebrity now?
Lacey, page 3 girls. I mean,
it could work. Next season, probably.
Are you talking about Tashi here?
Yeah, Tashi.
No, you couldn't have Tashi as a celebrity now.
Fuck.
No.
But continue on.
Yes, I like Lacey. And what about you, Paul? Did you think Lacey was good?
I thought Lacey was. She was again. She was basically becoming more of a character. Over the holidays, but over the series. I said, why did I say holidays? I couldn't do. But yeah, she did come more out of a shell.
Yeah.
Which would conquer the mounting ignorance and twattishness of Speidi. Which again, I apologise for shouting, but still,
okay.
Would probably be a good thing.
Why now? Realistically, Rylan and Speidi weren't going that week. Why do you think Claire survived over? Do you think it was just prior fan base, the fact that it was Claire from Steps versus the unknown model, or do you think
fan base? It's like Ego Raptor with the tester. I mean, the dude has about enough for a legion of fans, but it didn't actually work out at the last stretch of it. So yeah, it's probably like that.
What about you, Joe? Why did Claire stay over Lacey?
I think Claire got it because, as I say, she's got a big fan base of people who like Steps, people who like Claire generally. I think she's got quite a few thousand Twitter followers, so.
Do you think that had this been a civilian series and there was no prior fan bases, Lacey might have stayed over Claire? Because Claire was very quiet before then. She really all she was Rylan's sidekick.
I think she would be out very very early in the season, but since the fan base kept on saving her, then yeah, that would probably be. She would probably be out. Second week in, third week probably.
Okay, that's a fair enough judgment. Now, one of the things that happened in week 3 as well, we didn't really touch on this, but I think everyone has to agree it was probably the big fun moment of the series, which was the dictator task.
This is brilliant. I love
It is a
Oh my god, why do I just see Speidi, both of them with thick beards and hats, you know, like the dictator.
while Spencer and Heidi being dictators would have been funnier. I think Frankie Dettori filling the role was certainly very good, because if we all remember, the house was decorated with these like Che Guevara style posters of Frankie with his beard, his sunglasses, and his big massive hat on.
Big brother, home of the blasphemy.
But it was funny as well because Frankie was such a short man as well. It's like, so we have this like really short figure standing over each other as being.
It's like having Napoleon talk to you.
I think that's why they chose it, because he wanted the whole Napoleon thing.
Yo, bow down and lick my boots. No, fair enough.
Very funny moment, and Frankie getting so into the task as well. That was probably Frankie's best moment when he played dictator in that task. But
I can't believe that Chucky was a dictator. Oh my god, it's Napoleon but with an Irish accent.
Italian.
Oh fuck.
But
I must say that Rylan was a very good bodyguard.
yes, he did. Rylan was the best choice for the bodyguard there. Now, but one of the big gripes I did have about the dictator task, as much as I love it, Paul's still recovering from his laughing fit in the corner.
Oh my god! Even Razor was nominated as his bodyguard.
We're going to leave Paul's laughing fit to the side there, but because there was one aspect about the task which I didn't really like, and it's something which brings me on to other aspects during the series, which was he had this opportunity to overthrow the dictator, and Quell Supreme, they had Rylan doing he had Rylan negotiating the overthrow. And it brings me on to this point of Rylan and his continual involvement in continual mini tasks to try and keep him as a relevant part of the show. Was I the only one who found that a little bit unfair, that Rylan continually kept getting these important roles and tasks?
I think it was.
I'm gonna say this now, but that would be no problem whatsoever to overthrow him. You just pick him up and put him in the bin, and there we go. The whole entire thing taken over.
If you want, Paul, you can go out for a bit to try and calm down a bit.
No, I'm good. It's just.
Yes, Rylan overthrowing Rylan and his continual involvement in tasks. What's your view on that, Joe?
Oh my god.
I think that it was a bit repetitive, having Rylan as the main task completer all the time.
But why did they keep needing to do that though? I mean, there were characters who were really struggling for airtime there. Why didn't they give one of them lot a chance to show themselves a bit more? Why did you keep having to resort to Rylan?
Viva la France!
God's sake.
Yes. Paul, I think it's best to leave the room until you've calmed down a bit more.
I'm calm.
Okay.
Alright.
Fingers crossed? Yes. Rylan. But why did they keep doing that though? When there were other characters who needed the airtime a lot more than Rylan did. I mean, everybody knew who Rylan was, everybody knew what type of character he was. We didn't know who Gillian was, we didn't know who Trisha was. Why didn't they make them an important role in the show?
I don't know.
I think it's because of the fact they already had all the shit printed off.
And I mean, a lot of people criticise that series for being Rylan and Speidi orientated. They're the ones who made it Rylan and Speidi orientated by making tasks like this, where you gave them central roles all the time.
Yeah, but if you're trying to blatantly make the show like the shows that you've got those two characters from, then you're gonna have a problem, because they're both awful shows. I'm gonna say this now: X Factor in the audition stage is at its peak. But after that, it's just bland, usual motivational speeches and, basic, fist up your own arses sort of thing.
Endo-Italian dictators.
don't get me started. The Hills is even worse because they've got fixed shots. You've got someone that are clearly not saying anything that are from a that are not actually you might not see in real life.
Yes.
Basically, them reading something from a script.
Yes, but keeping this on point with the Big Brother thing. I know you don't like the Hills, and that's fine.
I fell in that trap.
That's fine. That's fine to vent about that. But so what we're going to talk about is that Razor and Tony were caught discussing nominations, and that meant another contrived eviction scenario, Quells the Prey, which meant every housemate was up that week. We were finally going to get rid of somebody who wasn't contributing to the show, and that person was Gillian.
Oh.
Now, what was your view? What was your view on Gillian Tailthorpe, Joe? One of the three middle-aged Sex in the City women, as we like to call them here. But the one which I actually liked the most. I don't know about you. Those three women, Gillian was my favourite. Do you think the right decision was made getting rid of Gillian?
Yeah, I think it was. It was just her time to go, really. So yeah, I think that was a good decision.
Bit cruel though to let her out to no crowd though.
Yeah.
Yes, because of the snow due that week, for safety reasons, they didn't have any crowd there.
Oh.
So Gillian's one of the few housemates to receive no eviction crowd when she left the house.
Gosh.
Along with Goss, poor Goss.
It's a bit shallow because it's like basically I would really buckle if the production team just made instead of an actual crowd, just a crowd of snowmen.
That would have been good. I'll hold it up side says get Speidi out.
It's basically like that episode of Doctor Who, but even more creepier. the children of the snow, the children of the snow.
I like that one.
And they want Speidi out for some odd reason.
That's a good one. I would have liked that. But Gillian had some fun moments. But yes, the right decision was made. Really, one of those three women needed to go, and they did the right thing, getting rid of them. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of the controversial moments that happened prior to the double eviction before the finale. Now, the first of these is the big blogger task.
Oh.
Now, Spencer and Heidi, very controversial characters. I know you don't like them, and I know Joe doesn't like them. Did you find Big Blogger a bit unfair, though, to put them into a situation where they were deliberately tricked into sharing their opinions about the housemates?
Yep.
You thought that was good. That was a bit
because it shows the real intentions of Speidi and.
Do you think it was unfair though to send them into a situation, the false pretenses? Basically, they were told that they were going to have this task, but they were going to talk to people off the internet, and they weren't. Do you think that was fair?
Well, all throughout the entire season, they're basically billboarding the fact that they were actually going to make Speidi the next winner of Big Brother.
I don't think they ever were. Spencer and Heidi. Spencer and Heidi were producers' pets. We can't deny that. But I don't think production ever wanted them to win.
I can just imagine the entire cast and crew behind there saying, "We don't." Saying, instead of the internet, it's production. We only got paid to do what they say. We don't like you. Unhappy face.
What about you, Joe? Did you think that was maybe a bit unfair on Spencer and Heidi, the big blogger task?
I don't know. I think it actually confirmed what the housemates knew, that they're all a bit of an arsehole. So and confirmed that.
I think if they really let the thing off on the internet, it would probably end up with the words twat, twat, arseface, twat, 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 twat.
Entertaining ones though.
Pretty much, yeah. Remember David Cameron when he was on Twitter? I would love to be on Twitter right now. They replied, "Fuck off, you Tory twat."
and it just felt as well that this that the reactions from the other housemates again showed up this Rylan desperation. Like the other housemates, yes, they were annoyed, but they didn't really get confrontational about it. Rylan was the one saying, "Oh yeah, that's what they're all like. That's what they're like. The bad people, the bad people." And when they came in, it was like, "You are fat. You are fake. You are scam." And I remember him shouting through the patios. Spencer and Heidi went back to the bed to do their own thing.
I did.
And I remember Rylan saying something like, "Fuck off, back home." And I mean, that was offensive. That to me, in my eyes, it was offensive to tell Americans, to tell foreigners to f off back home. And again, it's like the Shilpa situation.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
And I'm not implying that Rylan was as bad as Jade Goody. I don't want people to get that impression, but I think Rylan was quite out of line to try and say stuff like that, in my opinion. Yes,
but they were basically horrible people, but
it doesn't justify Rylan.
I know what you say. It doesn't justify the fact that Rylan blatantly said the words "go back home." It's just, it's basically the hero act sort of backfiring on the hero.
Yes, I think Rylan in a lot of these situations tried to set himself. He wanted the Craig Phillips moment where he called out the villain and got the massive cheer from the crowd as he does it, as he takes down the evil Speidi. And yet, really,
and that is why we love the Craig.
Yet, really, Rylan, when he was doing that sort of thing, when he was like venting and shouting and telling them to f off, made him just look as bad as Speidi in my eyes.
So basically, lesser of two evils, really.
Yes, literally. I mean, it was as bad as each other. Joe, where you were hearing you breaking up over there.
Sorry, I'm making cookies at the moment, so I'm listening. I'm still here.
There better be goddamn chocolate chip and none of that free crap.
Yes. So whilst Joe's making cookies, we are going to be discussing the controversial moment of the series, Rylan Gate. Now, which was this story which came out thanks to Gillian's eviction, that Rylan was deliberately leaving the house to go and audition for the X Factor every Sunday, and then coming back into the house. But although we didn't see this in the actual edit. Now, do you think that was out of line, the fact that the housemaid had such preferential treatment that they were allowed to leave the house on their own accord?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, if it was anyone else, they would have probably get the dogs on him. I just think that was a bit, putting them in the limelight.
Do you think it damaged the credibility of the show?
Yes.
I mean, it's one of the cardinal rules of the Big Brother franchise that you don't leave the house and you don't have contact with the outside world. And yet Rylan, quite obviously, was. And
that is not good.
It's not very good at all.
Because, the Big Brother is basically, you spend the entire time in the house. You spend the entirety, I'm going to say this now, the entirety of your time for 2 months in the house. Not go to have a few days there and then fuck off to the fucking X Factor. It's the entirety.
Could you imagine if someone in the civilian version said, "Yes, I'll be a housemaid, but I'll still work my 9 to 5 job"?
Exactly.
That's pretty much the same situation.
You don't do that. In fact, if anything, you'll be doing the same thing as Sandy did. Try and jump over the wall of Big Brother.
So do you think production made a mistake then, putting Rylan into the house when he was having to rehearse?
Bloody big time. It's just, you don't do that. Oh God, you've got me riled up now. The Big Brother, fucking Big Brother.
Just think about Frankie the Dictator and I'll calm you down again.
No, that's not going to even help. I need something even more powerful than that.
Are you okay to talk about the double eviction? Frankie and Trisha going that week?
Yeah.
You're gonna scream all the way until we get rid of Spencer and Heidi, aren't you?
Yes. And but still, I am apologising for the shouting.
So we're gonna talk to one of you each about this, because I don't think Frankie and Trish are worth getting that much airtime about. But we'll put discussing Trisha to you, Paul, and we'll discussing Frankie to you, Joe.
Aww.
And we'll go to Frankie first. Frankie, couple of funny moments. Dictator task was a notable one. Had the launch night twist, and not much else.
Just
what was your view on Frankie as a housemate?
I think it was a good housemate, especially in the dictator task. That was hilarious. But
I'm sorry, but I just see Napoleon, the bloody Italian accent when I see that. I know, but sorry.
Okay, we'll calm down.
I'm gonna look at that dude.
Well, what do you think would have helped Frankie in the end?
In the end, probably if he just acted like more like bigger, not because he's a little man, but like bigger at the same.
I think we sent Paul away again. So we'll move away from Frankie to Tori and we'll let Paul talk about Trisha Penrose, who finished in 6th place. Now, of these three Sex of the City women, Trisha was the least relevant. Which asks the question, how did you manage to survive so many evictions and end up getting the 6th place?
Well, it's probably over the fact that she was basically being less of what I would like to call a Speidi twat. Because, you know, if likable people do get onto the high spots. I mean, look at
Adam.
Look at
Adam.
Adam.
Yes.
Look at him. He's so.
But then is also the argument that nice equals boring, and maybe Trisha was an example of that.
Yeah, but again, Adam was not the nicest bloke you would ever meet.
But he had the personality to go with it.
Exactly.
And Trisha didn't.
Oh, well, in that case, then yeah, 6th place is deservable.
Now, the only interesting thing I will give about Trisha, and a lot of people who follow the internet forums will notice this. For some reason, I don't know if it was a betting sting, but Trisha, for some reason, was the second favourite to win for a long period of time. And at what point was actually challenging Rylan to become the favourite to win. That's probably the most interesting thing that I can remember about Trisha Penrose in the Big Brother house.
Why when I hear Trisha, I think of the...
You think Trisha got out from the chat show, don't you?
Rice and pea in the pot.
But we'll move on to the finale night. And just in general, your view of the finale night, did you think it was a good show? Did you think that maybe there could have been aspects of it which could have been done a bit better?
They're still there.
They're still there all the way to the end, Paul.
Oh God. It's like when you have a bit of you know, Diet Coke and there's a little bit of aftertaste in your mouth. Oh.
So whilst Paul's grieving over that, we're going to put this to Joe. Okay, I'm going to discuss 5th place housemate Neil Razor-Ruddock. Now,
well,
how do you judge Razor as a housemate? Do you give him a lot of leeway considering he was the last minute replacement for Jim Davidson, or do you judge him as a housemate on the whole? Do you think he was a good contributor to the show?
He was a good contributor. I thought, you know, when he was asked to join the girls team in the quiz task and dress like a girl, he did it. So
there was a lot of that during the series.
That's why I love this guy. He's up for anything. I mean, he was up for Big Brother. He spent mostly 2 months with the most unlikable people in the world, and yet has come out with a smile and dressed up like a woman and disguised as Brian Blessed.
There's only so many times you can see a fat man in drag, though. Yeah,
I mean, I can't see any other.
So the question.
Wait.
So the question.
Heather from.
That's cruel.
That Heather from, you know.
TV Bear.
That's the one.
That's cruel.
Aww.
So the question I asked then is, if everyone loved Razor, why was he only 5th?
I don't know. I think it might be production sort of meddling in it.
You think production meddled in the vote?
Probably. They did with the other one.
What other one?
The one with Speidi.
Oh, no, that was just the amount of people who were up each week.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I don't know why he became 5th, but I think it was the fact that he was likable. but a little bit intolerable at the same time. I mean, to tell you the truth, the guy's awesome.
And the fact that pretty much there were only going to be about 10 votes split between Tony, Claire, and Razor, because Rylan and Speidi were just eating up the rest of them for themselves. I'm not joking. I would love to actually see the view count for the amount of votes cast for that eviction, because I'd love to see how many percent those three ended up getting.
Oh, I would love to. I know I've said this before, but Razor does look like Brian Blessed if he had a shave.
What was your view of Claire Richards then? 4th place.
Claire Richards.
Do you think she had a... We'll put this to Joe, because I think Joe was more of a Claire fan than what Paul was. Now, did Claire have a lot more to live with than just being Claire from Steps? Or do you think that was what solely carried her to 4th place?
I think
Claire
she was, Claire, but she was like more than Claire. She was like super Claire. She was
Mother Teresa Claire.
Do you think Claire was right to do this? I mean, Claire had a lot of trouble hacking the domination side of the show, the mental side of it. She just seemed like this miserable wreck for a lot of it.
Yeah, but you should know that she's done stuff on reality TV before this. She's just had a reunion. She's had a fat club thing. So she's
celebrating fat club. Fat club, sorry.
Do you think there was anything that Claire could have done to try and maybe show herself up? Do you think she was maybe too much of Rylan's lackey to get?
Yeah, I think she was, and I think she kind of held herself back because of that.
I was just saying, talk about the supervillain versus superhero versus super something or another. Minions, for God's sake. Minion.
I think that's actually a good way to look at it. She was very much the Robin to Rylan's Batman.
Okay.
Which just have strange vision in my head now.
Okay, Batman, let's go. You can rub some oil on me back. I like to touch good. I like to touch boys, honey. Come here, Joker.
Moving on before Paul offends the homosexual community.
Already done that.
Yep. We're going to talk about Ryan Tony Maloney. So, and this of course leads me to the question: who the hell still watches their neighbours in this country?
No one.
I think I would like to bring up a Seth MacFarlane sketch. It's basically they're doing the acting thing, and then one of the characters says, "Who even watches us anymore? Old people do. Hey, how are you doing? Have you seen your grandsons lately?"
I asked the question though because that must be one of the reasons why Tony ended up getting the final 3 spot. Because really, I don't think there was really that much else. I mean, he was a decent enough bloke. I mean, there was a little bit of a sympathy vote around not getting these letters from home, but apart from that, I struggle to think of anything else that justified him getting 3rd place.
Yeah, he didn't do much, did he really?
No.
Mind you, his name does give rhyming to something. What's his name again? Ryan
Maloney is his real name, but he goes by the name Tony because of the character he plays on Neighbours.
Tony Maloney, or had a little pony. Sorry.
But you were entertained by the most simple of things.
I'm entertained by a little cartoon on freaking YouTube.
But Tony obviously must have had a fan base because he got 3rd place.
As of 16 people who ever watch
11.
11. Fucking hell.
And that means that we were left with what was pretty much the central story of the whole series, which was Rylan versus Speidi in the final 2. Now, I have to give the producers a lot of credit here. I personally believe Rylan absolutely walked this finale, but the way they built it up, to try and scare people, to try and make people believe that Speidi could actually win. I have to give them a good job on that. They did a good job. It was but in that regard, it was a fun finale. But of course, really, there was only ever going to be one winner, and that was going to be Rylan.
Why do I just see the after party saying congratulations Speidi, but instead they just crossed off Speidi and put a little piece of paper saying Rylan on
no, Rylan was always going to win that series, regardless, in my opinion.
Yay,
but
the demons have been killed.
But saying that though, was anyone else a bit annoyed at the production at the eviction crowd? I mean, Speidi had pretty much contributed their entire month's watching and made that series worth watching through their villain antics, which were fantastic. And yet the crowd crapped on them for it. Do you think the crowd should have been a bit more respectful to the fact that these two had played one of the best villain games ever in Big Brother history?
No! Absolutely not!
Well, in terms of success of the show, they were. I mean, how many times have you seen the pantomime villain of the show end up being evicted third and fourth week? Speidi were runners up. Speidi were full on, absolutely despised and finished second.
And
so they must have done something right.
They did something right. They manipulated. They pissed off people.
And it was downright entertaining in the process.
True, but still, they just, it's good to know that the evil two-headed beast that is Speidi has been killed.
But the question I want to ask, and I'm going to put this to you, Joe, is that we've had a villain finish in second. What would it take to get a villain character such as the Speidi to win the show?
An actual supervillain?
That's a hard question.
Do you think
Imagine if they get Dr. Steele into this.
Do you think it's possible?
No, I don't think it's possible.
So we've discussed the villain of the piece in this whole series long story. Now we have to talk about the so-called hero in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Which is the point where we discuss Rylan as a character and Rylan as a winner.
I would like to bring up the boys on this. Basically, it's a comic book where there's a group of people hired by the government that are basically to quote unquote beat the living shit out of superheroes. And this is what this is, and the superheroes are complete dicks.
And what's the point of this in regards to Rylan?
I see Ryland as the superhero. An absolute 100% absolute dick, and we loved every moment of it.
So you saw Rylan as the dickish, love to hate villain.
Well, it's hard to pick because you've got Speidi, and then you've got him.
Were you personally satisfied with Rylan as a winner?
It was a shock, but
you thought it was a shock.
Yeah, because everyone's been hyping on about the fact that Speidi would probably have won.
I don't think they were.
Huh.
Well, what about you, Joe? Did you think that? What did you think of Rylan as a winner? Do you think he was a good winner? Do you think he was a bad winner? Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Yeah. What about you, Rylan as a winner? Did you like him? Dislike him?
I think that he made a good winner, but I'm not delighted. But he won, so there you go.
Do you think he had it from day one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What about you, Paul? Do you agree with the same?
I would agree with the same, and bringing up the superhero sort of thing. But it's just the stuff that he's actually done. Actually went out the house to do rehearsals.
And
all the other stuff is a bit out of line.
So you think that tamed this series?
It's a shallow victory, really.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough.
Hi.
Now, so just to finish off, just to clarify, just to round everything up. What was your view on the series, Paul?
Almost there, but not really. It's just like 1 step forward and 500 steps back.
That's a good way of looking at it. And what about you, Joe? Do you still have the time for us? No, I think Joe's had to.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe's still here. Yes, Joe, your view of the series on a whole.
I think it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. So yeah.
Do you think, what sort of things do you think what lessons could be learned to try and improve this series, to improve this for series 14?
Stop getting your noses in it, production. Stop getting your noses in it.
And you, Joe?
Don't hire such bad villains.
And that's unfortunately what all we've got time for, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, another, let me just check our timer here, another 1 hour 10 minutes talking about CBB11.
And
Who would have thought it? We're sad enough to talk about one of the worst series of Celebrity Big Brother.
And we had fun doing it.
Yes, well, Paul had his laughing fit during the middle.
Serious? Come on, you right? I'm making this a thing, right? I will personally give you a shout out, right? If you actually make a bit of fan art with Frankie Dettori dressed up like Napoleon Bonaparte.
I definitely support that. And that reminds me, actually, any sort of criticisms, any sort of comments, any messages of support, anything you want to talk about to us, post it on the Facebook, post it on our Facebook page, post it on our Twitter feed, post it in the comments box below. We appreciate all your support. You are the people who we make this for.
Yeah.
But until next time, we're going to have to leave it there. My name's been Karl Bainbridge. That's been Paul Barron.
Thank you, and I apologise for shouting the F word as loud as I could.
And that's been Joseph Tilley.
Pete Barnes.
Yeah, and we'll be joining you once again when we discuss Celebrity Big Brother 8. See you then, ladies and gents. Bye bye.
Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like.